चाइना सिर्फ एक मुल्क का नाम नहीं बल्कि एक मौजे का नाम भी है। वो कौन से फैक्टर्स थे जिनकी बेसिस पर चाइना की तरक्की के या सक्सेस की स्टोरी को चाइनीज मिरेकल का नाम दिया जाता है? How did China make enormous strides of development in the past 30 years? ऐसे क्या अवामिल थे जिनकी बिना पर चाइना 80 करोड़ आबादी को खते गुर्बत से ऊपर लेकर आया, जो कि बहरहाल पाकिस्तान की आबादी का भी 4 गुना ज़्यादा है? ऐसा कैसे मुमकिन हुआ कि 1979 के ट्रेड लिबरलाइजेशन और फ्री मार्केट रिफॉर्म्स से आज तक की 4 दिहाइयों में हर 8 साल बाद चाइना का जीडीपी ग्रोथ रेट डबल हो जाता है? And how has China become the world's largest economy today and is vying to replace the US in terms of being a global superpower and in terms of GDP in purchasing power parity? How did all of it come to pass? चाइना के सक्सेस के सीक्रेट्स आखिर क्या थे और इन सब से पाकिस्तान को क्या लेसन सीखने को मिलते हैं, और पाकिस्तान जैसी एक थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्री आखिर कैसे इन्हीं सब रिफॉर्म्स को इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकता है टू बी द नेक्स्ट ग्लोबल सुपर पावर और एटलीस्ट टू बी इकोनॉमिकली सेल्फ सस्टेनेबल? आज इन्हीं तमाम सवालात को हम एड्रेस करने की कोशिश करेंगे। आज के हमारे इस सेशन का टॉपिक है चाइना's rise and lessons for Pakistan. And for this special session, we have none other than Dr. Hasnain Javed. Dr. Hasnain Javed is an internationally acclaimed sinologist and a master trainer. He's an advisor and he's associated with Pakistan Industrial Technical Assistance Center, operated under Federal Ministry of Industries and Production by the Government of Pakistan. He holds his PhD degree in Management and Engineering Sciences. He has authored 4 books and over 300 articles in Pakistan's leading newspapers and has disciplined and schooled over 30,000 delegates. So without further ado, हम अपने गेस्ट की तरफ चलते हैं. Please welcome Dr. Hasnain Javed. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Javed.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you very much.
How are you, sir?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much for inviting me on this very important issue under the banner of CEPI, right?
Yes, sir.
So
thank you so much for coming.
It's my privilege to talk on this very important issue because the China has become the phenomena. The Chinese phenomena has become the most thinkable phenomena ever in the history. How's GDP goes on, how's the disasters comes and go, how the fastest sustained expansion, how they have achieved a remarkable economic visionary win, and how they create the win-win situation in the whole global world, where it has never been possible by invading. American rise was in front of everyone. They invade, they kill people, they create, they taught lesson to the people. They crush Iran, they crush Afghanistan, they invade and they conquered Iraq, Baghdad, and you just name it till so far, directly or indirectly, they are just creating the disastrous things. But how did China become the win-win inventor? Now I'm coining the term win-win inventor. So before I speak on the relevant topic, because I wanted to fix on the topic given by respected Ms. Nurul Huda and Dr. Nurul Huda. And once again, thank you very much for inviting me and allowing me to share my 2 cents on China. The economy in Pakistan, my favorite subject to speak on, always. I spend much of my time in China. I spend most of my time in America too. But when I comparison both 2 powers, second is the best economy, which never claims that they are the second best economy. So the most important thing is they are not claiming anything and people recognizing that. And the important thing is that on the other side, America is claiming that, but nobody now accepting that reality that they have done something. They are operating under the United Nations missions. They are operated everything. They are the arbitrators of Kashmir and Pakistan, but they have done nothing. Whereas the China invest in Sri Lanka for the roads, infrastructure development, poverty alleviation, and other things. They have given the happiness, and now GDP convert into the gross domestic happiness. Now, this is what the China is. Now, this is very unfair when we talk that now Pakistan become the next colony of China. I disagree to this point because China is everywhere. The 70 countries link up and lies on, which is called ITA ILU, the Belt and Road uh, Initiative. And what is Belt and Road Initiative? Is economic prosperity, economic dependency, economic happiness. If China says everybody must together live happily and let the people live with peace and happiness, is there any objection on it? Why America has objection on it? Why they wanted to create the disastrous war? Why they are not expanding their production? Why they are not expanding their GDPs in terms of anything? Why they are not assisting anyone in a rising effect? Why they are not leading us for the climatic and the climate change? Why China is moving? I mean, they have done the 70% of the global inductor of the global pollution, but now they are the first to emit the carbon. Now let me start from the beginning. How much time exactly I have?
We have about 60 to 75 minutes, so you can be
Okay.
flexible about the time.
So in terms, so in relaxedly and flexibly, I just wanted to first have the discoursement on the historic perspective of China, not just 5,000 years back, but starting from the agrarian economy. I'm just taking the span of 30 years. The poorest of the poorest China, they have nothing, none more than the addictive people, the seductive people. I mean, the nation with no vision, a nation with no vision. Now, the only nation with the vision, the most pathetic governance structure is being acclaimed, which is China, and the most suitable solution ever given by the democracy is America. And now you can compare which is best. Let's start from the agrarian economy to its contribution over the 18% in the global GDP. China tales of remarkable economic vision is unheard of. The unlearned determination spanning over 4 decades is full of lesson and learning of the world. The word describes China, the phenomenal growth, as the fastest sustainable expansion by the major economy in history. अच्छा, पहला तो आपने ये मार्क कर लिया. You must have to mark. So, which is the major economy in the history. And that's not what I'm saying. This is not what Asian Development Bank is saying. This is not the American NDRC is saying. NDRC is their CPC. And gradually I'll let you know what the Chinese structure is. This is not claiming by China. And now keep three, four things in your mind. Like, they have developed Sri Lanka, they have developed Malaysia, their road infrastructure, and they are developing our CPAC. Now, by considering 3 factors, and now why they are focusing on their own territorial liaisons. Did we do that? No, from the starting of the history, 1947, did anyone ask that we should not be the ally of America? Did anybody ask that how is it possible that 24 hours of the flight we can take and then we can be we will reach there by sometime in America? Can we be the ally? Do they care us? Will they care us? No, of course not. Then why we are the ally? Why we fought for them? Why we taken up their war in Afghanistan? Why we taken up their war and destruct Russia? Why what we are heading? The superpower is Russia, and Russia has the good links with the China. And this Southeast Asian region can be the best move. Who has done that? That's mean the American conspiracy was there, and they are the pioneer in conspiracy, and still the COVID-19, by my side and by my opinion, if this is the conspiracy, if this is not research, and if you people says that there is no, serious evidences about the COVID-19 has been tracked or traced or installed by someone else, but I can say clearly that phenomenal side they have placed is they have made the movies 11 years back, most of the movies, and they mention the word COVID-19 and the pandemic and the coronavirus. So, and first they place their things in movies and then they put it up there. But on the other hand, China is totally focusing on the development. And the one word before I start in the historic perspective, China comes into the power not just with a flip of a finger, but gradually they have started from the very hard time, but gradually now they are the most gadgeted, most, AI-based technology become the most, amazing economics where I can see the people, the poor people can enjoy everything. No, they are the 100 of the products they can enjoy. Even the rich and the poor both enjoy China, and the Chinese win. Now, get into that. Imagine the impact of China's economic growth on its poverty elevation from the fact in recent year about 1 million people in country shock of absolute poverty every month, which is equivalent to one person escaping poverty every 3 seconds. So that's mean to understand China economic progress, we must consider the historical perspective, challenges, and motivation that bring us today's talk. Now, there are similar few important things. First, I respond to one important issue. Who was Mao? The Mao's China. I'll answer this question in a way that China's economic growth is a vast subject and comes against a historic backdrop of 100 years of poverty, the country's own internal weakness and desire for reforms. But reforms is not as like that what you are, hearing from Pakistan. Is it reforms? But I can clearly say this is not reforms. If I use the word for Pakistan, I have written the book recently, White Manifesto, the Book of Reforms for Pakistan, and I can request Dr. Nurul Huda to spread this book out in their relevant area. And the second most important thing for the perspective of competitive exam, there is a second book, A Corridor, a New Strategic Fit for Pakistan. These are quite relevant because most of the 4 questions comes out of that book. So that could be very possible and plausible situation and can be given to you. So today I'm not talk on high out of my heart, but very strategically. I'll pointing out 3 stages. So I segregate my talk on 3 major stages that played significant role in China economic revival. One is the Mao Era, 1949 to 1979. That doesn't mean that I'm missing the Chuen Lai or other people, but because just to let you people understand that after Mao, then there is a transition, a very major transition. A major transition that first, see, for example, I will give you the example in a way that there is a concept of Levine. process of change. And you can go and Google it, that what is Levine concept, or what is the Levine philosophy or Levine model of change. That it's mean that first you refreeze whatever the structure, you first have to freeze it, then defreeze it, then freeze it, and then refreeze. Then you can make any structure out of it. Same as the case, Mao fought for something very different. It was the peasants, it was the different areas, it was the people are not aware of their rights, people are just not there, or it is sort of like. But Mao stood up and he taken up the state task. I mean, because he was influenced by the Lenin, and they are just striking and striving for the powerful elite. So they targeted the elite. Same as the question that as Pakistan, in Pakistan, Imran Khan is even a little rigid to the system, but he should not. He should obviously follow the transition of Deng Xiaoping, rather Mao Zedong, but they have, because obviously this times demands like that way. So for example, we can understand, okay, first we have to be very rigid. But for this story, I don't know, in coming minutes, I will tell you this thing or not, but Deng Xiaoping was the one who resisted within the party, who was jailed within the party, who was being expelled within the party, but he never switched his party from anyone else, but he was with Mao, but continuously resisting their ideas that culture revolution is not important. It is not, I mean, the equality, that who earn much and get the same same food, same clothes, same health benefits, same, and everything is same. So it should not be the case, and it should not be the nature. But obviously, Mao Zedong have not convinced to this part, and eventually they have changed. So for this to understand the real rise in economics, that was the Deng Xiaoping era. And here I want you to just pick up the note over there, that the geopolitics and the geoeconomics. Now, the word is all about geoeconomics, and 30-year span is not much of the span. So Deng Xiaoping era was the well understanding, and if somebody, or in Pakistan, they want to be governed, or if they want to seriously govern the economic challenges, they must have to understand the Deng Xiaoping era. So the first era of my target discussion is Mao Era, 1949 to 1979, and the transition of the Deng Xiaoping era, which would be 1982 to 2002. Then I'll talk on to the turn of the century and Xi Jinping, 2002. And here I just wanted to tell you that Reform of China 1 and Reform of China 2, if everybody can get that book on reforms of China 1 and Reforms of China 2, Xi Jinping, by President Xi Jinping, and President forever, the lifetime president. Here he stated a wonderful word, that do everything what you want, do everything whatever you see, do whatever is the objective oriented, do whatever magnificent, do whatever modernization, McDonaldization, anything which suits you, but with the Chinese characteristics. This is the most important part. This is the most challenging part. And this is the most, visionary part, that they allow their people to stand by with it, with the Chinese characteristics. Now, I am going to get into the discoursement of the Mao era. How economically they freeze it. Might have to done it. I don't know. I'm not getting into the discussion that whether he has to done that, whether he have to, why he has taken the old decision. I mean, it is not exactly that he has not creating any development, but it was the aggression. It was a rageous. It was a revengeous to the ruling elite. He was, obviously, he has to work for the cartelization. He have to destruct the cartelization. And the second phase would be the different, which was then shopping. Well, the first period, what I call it, the economic control or freeze. Still, you are passing through the Imran's era, the Imran Khan era. I'm not calling it PTI era, but I don't know that there is difference between the PTIs and the Imrans. So there is a bit difference in the political ideology. Well, now understanding how they control and freeze. Now, economics is the most important thing. If you conquer your economy, you can conquer everything. Now, this word is all about no war, and there should be no war. So, according to the Chinese government statistics, Chinese real GDP grew at average annual rate of 6.7% from 1953 to 1978. Some experts argue that the annual growth rate was 4.4. Mao undid a lot of policies and practice that had kept China poor and its growth stagnant from decades. Mao maintained a certain planned or command economy. A large share of the country's economic output was directed and controlled by the state. So here you can see the state controlled. So Mao's basic ideology was the state control. Here I feel the need that रियासत होगी माँ की जैसी. इसको आसान तरीके से समझाने के लिए ये समझ लें कि रियासत के ऊपर कंट्रोल करने वाला जब माँ की तरह या बाप की तरह सोचेगा, सो वो चीजों को कंट्रोल में लेकर आएगा. और वो कंट्रोल में कैसे लेकर आएगा कि वो एक लिमिट तक आपको खेलने की भी इजाजत देगा, आपको आपकी फ्री विल को भी इजाजत देगा, लेकिन जहां उसको खतरा महसूस होता होगा वहां से आपको हटाएगा. That was exactly the ideology of Mao Zedong at that time when he introduced the word controlled by the state. Hopefully you get the idea. So now, which set production goal, control price, and allocate resource throughout most of the economy. Now here you can understand, are you getting this idea that here are the three steps, where is the set of production goal, control prices, and allocated resources through most of the economy. Then during the 1950s, all of the Chinese individual household form collectivized into large communes. To support the rapid industrialization, the central government undertook large-scale investment in the physical and human capital during the 1960s and 1970s. In addition, Chinese economy suffered significant economic downturn during the leadership of Chairman Mao, because including during the Great Leap Forward from 1958 to 1962, which led to the massive famine and reportedly the deaths of up to 45 million people. The Cultural Revolution, there was some serious offense was there. I mean, like Mao's thinking was towards the maximum male gender, and he was technically stopped the maximum ratio of the girls, female participants. He reduced the I can say that they have given the concept of the birth control for females. So of course it was the negative side of the cultural revolution, but somehow he thinks that the China needs more men than the females. But that was the part. Obviously, when we call it the dark age or something like that, but that was the time. But it is not. That's not against the Chinese. Growth. But obviously, somehow he have to control somehow. So because that was the era of control. Precisely you can say. So the Cultural Revolution from 1966 to 1976, which caused widespread political chaos and greatly disputed the economy. Here, I'm completely Uh, I'm not. I was to. I was been. I've been to Beijing. I was been to Hanan. I've been to so many provinces, and I've been to Fudan University. I've been to Peking University. I have been to. There are, for your information, that there is 3,000 plus universities in China. So modern China is going for the education. They are the dire need of education. They have lust for education. And if you go there and the few 15 16 Chinese standing in the round right in front of the university, and they are just reading their chapters like this. So they are, I mean, everywhere you can see the most recent book is, I mean, rapidly, instantly translated into the Chinese language, and they just into it. So none of the new, I mean, concept have been, I mean, misplaced by them. So now that was the era of controlled economy. So now I think I have clearly letting you people that Mao's influence, the economic influence, or you can say the inspiration, was Lenin, Karl Marx. But Marx's theory is still being very confused even by from the Pakistanis. And I'll request somehow and someday, if I'll have time, that I would definitely want to talk on the Das Kapita and the Karl Marx philosophy, because it is very misleading concept, become the misleading concept when it comes to Pakistan, when it was the era that where every liberalist is Marxist, and they become just the सुरखा, और वहां पर सिर्फ शायरी होती रही, फैज के अशार पढ़ते पढ़ते गए, लेकिन मईशत तो वहां थी ही नहीं. The Karl Marx is the pure economist, and he gave the real formulations, but he was the most